bamutabani wa Kajijo nyondo omuntu naye bakakutta kubaka nakesera okuba ba nkakuba nyondo obukarubindi ne bukakka mu lubuto obono nalwesa bwe yali ampita nti muwe sente nzimutange okumukuba mutwe bwe nti ngenta amamanyo nengayiwa kinumanya abaana bosaboneza
batutaseeko bakyaliyo tufunzaako omumalirize
zokomuba muki ebipiira banne tebalisula wa
mpulira
gwe balikwata bwe bati alifuna ekisiranika gwe basookedde babulungi ne bamutayalisa babulungi ne bamusamu ebipiira
okutayalisa kyekibuzeye okutayalisa
akesironko bwe kali bakalaba ku tv nekkulubya baliyitira gulo okuyingira sirongo ono alitema kutemi kuyingira kongo kinsasa ono aliyita muntu abo ab'omutawaana abo nsaba katonda banywezeeko omunga nkyali wano nakale mu kuyingira kalagwi nalweso mu kagaali k'abalema nga ze waffe okusasula 5 billion omulenzi oyo zeyalya
mpulira
yes
si eyazirya omumanyi mulala
anti yazimuwa
mpulira
nti nze lwalina lwamukaga nti nzimuwe nali njagala mubendi ntoma naye omanye ewaffe kirabika engeri gyetali bakillers whenever I get an opportunity of killing somebody wabeerawo ekyenkwata nali njagala omulenzi oyo mubetenga omutwe ng'agamba mbu media center I can give Mirundi gwenyo wali mufakalenzi gwonnuma ba nenkubeta ente omuntu anuma kubasamu
Mirundi musungu wavu biregere gyoyogeramu whenever I get an opportunity to kill them.
We have a very strong scenario that we need to solve. The first thing I'm looking at is how Tamale Mirundi is becoming a menace. He's messing up nearly each and everything. He's becoming the sole provider of information to everyone. By the way, now I can compliment on that. He really exposed each and everything that we had prepared to work on. Each and every secret we had put up. Everything has totally been destroyed. That is why I'm still wondering, how does he come to this extent? And you people are just looking. I have a thought in me that something can be done about it. We cannot wait for somebody to open the entire roof and bring down the foundation of this fellowship just because we are just looking on, we have nothing to do, and we are just looking at these people. We are just looking at like headless chicken. No, we are supposed to be doing something about it. My brother, we really did everything in every possibility, in every single capacity we ever thought of. You must have heard of so many things happening. For example, there was a scenario. First, where he was ejected from State House. Then he was ejected from several radio stations, several television stations. All of those were efforts to try and stop him. We even plotted to arrest him. We even sponsored the Mafias to go to court on defamation. So many people came up, even Mandela tried to go to court over defamation during the distribution of relief food. So there are really so many things that we have gone through. There are really so many things that we have really tried to bring an end to this gentleman. But he just cannot stop. His urge to fight is really very high. We have tried each and everything in our possibility. Totally nothing has ever worked out. Now I think we can also... you people try to raise some money for this man to stop this kind of, avenging attitude. What happened? Why does he paint us to be villains? And yet sometimes we are beneficent. We are employers. We are manufacturers. Those are some of the things that we have to be looking at. Can't we get somebody to dialogue with him such that really, the moment I concentrated on listening to him, I discovered a lot of things that we really have no secret. What are we supposed to do? Rukato recorded me yesterday and he was almost shedding tears, saying that this gentleman is becoming a menace. We used to think he's a mad man, but he's a man of great intelligence and integrity in what he says. Why don't we find somebody to dialogue with this man and we bring this to a stop? Let me tell you, we tried each and everything. We even have several people who have tried to meet this man and they were badly frustrated. We even proposed some money. He exposed all what we are doing in the meeting in the process to construct the deal. Everything was exposed until one of the generals took over this, took over the project. But even then he was stopped. Now it is in the hands of the president. You mean the president is so interested in this man? Not just interested in this man. He's working for the president. No. I cannot believe. What kind of work does he do for the president? Abusing each and every one and actually bringing down the entire tower, including attacking members of the first family, and you say he's working for His Excellency. He is working for President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. That one I'm telling you, whether you want it or not, but take it the way I tell you, because he has written several letters to him. That is point number one. He has a channel which receives all these recordings. So His Excellency gets all this information from Tamale Mirundi and his so-called M.I.S.O. It is not as easy as you may assume. It is a very, very strong and deep-rooted project he's running. What don't you think is stopped? Don't you think ISO could stop him? External security would stop him. If he's using foreign technology, even SFC, even CMI would stop him. Why don't you think His Excellency instructed that he keeps on doing the same thing? He's just helping the president, including attacking members of the first family. Let me tell you, that is the way it is. That is the way it is. He is working for His Excellency. Then I'm dead. It cannot happen really. You cannot tell me that Tamale Mirundi is working for His Excellency when he's attacking the First Lady, when he's attacking Godric Rwabuogo, when he's attacking each and every member of the first family, including actually Salim Saleh, because there are certain people you attack when you are directly attacking Salim Saleh. So really, he's attacking every member of the NRM, every powerful member whom, now look at the way he marries Nakarim. Now, if he's working for the president, why doesn't His Excellency sack Nakarim? He has been attacking Grace Akuru. Why don't you think His Excellency is not suspecting Grace Akuru? I think there is something very meaningful that we really need to understand. Things should not just go like that. There is no way we can rate Tamale Mirundi marries each and every one and you say he's working for His Excellency. But that is the fact I have to tell you, that he's working for His Excellency. Nothing less, nothing more. That is the whole thing, because His Excellency alone has the capacity to stop him. But if he's not doing it, then what do you think is happening? What do you think is happening? It means His Excellency is the one recommending him, is the one supporting him, is the one energizing him, and that is the whole thing we are looking at. Really, that is a very bad thing. I cannot understand the situation where somebody in the capacity of Tamale Mirundi, who really has no position in the government, because he normally claims that even the post of being a presidential advisor must be expunged from his records. So that simply means that there is really something which I need to understand. There is something I really need to understand, because things cannot happen this way really. The man has embarrassed each and every one. I've been following I've been following his recordings. I have followed his programs. I even hired somebody to pick out the main things concerning certain topics, and there are really so many. He has attacked each and every sector of the economy. Look at the Rokas project, the man was there. Look at the Roya project, the man was there. Look at the COVID-19, the man has attacked everyone there. Look at the Minister of Health, apart from the COVID task force, everybody has been attacked. So really, who is safe from this man? And why can't His Excellency stop him really? That is one of the things I'm asking. Now the professor is there, he has come. You ask him, he's going to give you a clear elaboration. Professor, really, what I was asking Frederick is, really, we have a scenario here. There are several things that have been happening. And Tamale has been talking about these things. So now I'm asking him, don't you think His Excellency can sack him? But he's assuring me that he's working for His Excellency. And I'm really not sure. And I'm not certain that he's really working for His Excellency. So I needed to understand why the hell things are going so deep like this, that members of the first family have been attacked and His Excellency is doing nothing. Now, actually, the only thing I can tell you is that the president has recruited him to work on his own task force during this campaign. Let me tell you one thing. His Excellency has always been aware why he has failed to fight corruption is because the extended first family is actively participating in activities of corruption. Attacking them directly would be attack on self. So he had to get somebody who's very vibrant and flamboyant, very fearless and confident, and arrogant enough to attack such people, to neutralize, to get a saying, to get an excuse to tell them that, you see, I give an example, Salim Saleh, you see, now the public is aware if this man is talking about it. So that is the psychology behind. So if he's doing this, the good thing is that he presents the facts to His Excellency. If they were lies, he would have been stopped already. So that is a simple thing I want you to understand. I don't know if I've caught well the topic. I was a bit late. So I've just answered what you've asked me. I don't know if it is part of the larger discussion you have for today. Thank you very much. I'm very convinced now. Now, if that is how His Excellency operates, then that simply means we simply have to be very careful. In whatever thing we are going to be doing, we have to be extremely very careful. Because I have heard what Tamale Mirundi has talked about to several things. The man is very factual. He's very spot on and with very high precision. So I'm looking at this as something most importantly we should all consider if we are going to do anything very meaningful. Look, we are heading for elections. And this is going to be the most violent elections in the history of the NRM. That is point number one. Point number two, it is going to be the most expensive election as compared to 2016 and 2011. Thirdly, we are going to see so many people losing, especially those who participated in the previous house. At the local government, so there are several things that we have to be looking at. Now, if Tamale Mirundi is on board, then His Excellency will have a lot of excuses to say that I'm not the person steering, but there are some stubborn members who are doing that. So when we look at all of these things, I think now I can envision what His Excellency is trying to view in this madman Tamale Mirundi. So if we try to look at all those things and we really try to analyze and understand them, then the fellowship survival has to be carefully managed. Mr. Chairman, you have to be very careful. You have to be very calculative, and you should ensure that any breaches that ever happen should be prevented, should be countered, and should be disambiguated as soon as they happen. You report anything that really strays from the normal, such that we can take action as soon as possible. Then you have to be very careful with the digital espionage, because I've been briefed about it. The moment I had to take it to a friend who works with SFC in the cyber unit, and they really told me it is a very true process, but it is aided by a highly advanced technology. So you have to be very careful. Whenever you're carrying a digital device, you try as much as possible to avoid the communication, sensitive communication, whenever you see that you're not safe enough or you're having a digital device around you. So this is what I've been briefed. Somebody called me that you have voice converters. I don't know how you have the technical term they call those machines. alternators or something of the sort. You might need them for the sake of such high profile meetings, because you cannot avoid such physical meetings. Cellular communication is 10 times more risky than this physical talking, as long as you avoid digital devices around you. Now, I think there could be several projects that are moving on that have not been briefed with. So somebody, can you brief me on those things?
I think Professor can take over. From there are certain projects that we have been working on. And for the fact that I have a constituency to take care of, I wanted actually to transfer some of my responsibilities to Professor, such that he can fill in any missing gaps for better efficiency. But as of now, there are several things that Professor can talk about and how we have been managing them, and actually the support we really need from you people.
Thank you very much. Now, the first project we have been working on for quite some time involves over $400 million, and it is a loan to be acquired from the World Bank. It was already approved and it would have been released about 7 months ago. But because of the COVID-19 and because of the disagreement within the Rural Electrification Agency under the Ministry of Energy, it was delayed. But now we have our former friends with whom we worked for quite some time. That was Turiagenda and Werike. Now they were hosted by one engineer called Rutuama, Charles. The loan was signed by the minister, Matia Kasaija, and we met over the same. And that money has to be released anytime soon. So we expected to position ourselves into that so we can earn something out of it. And now that is what is the most immediate thing we are looking at, which can be handled as soon as possible. We had planned on that already, but we realized that Engineer Rutuama is not compliant at all.
Actually, is the main stumbling block. Would have done so much, but he seems to be incorruptible, antisocial. We cannot operate with him. And the previous meeting we had, I think we chose that if Bahati is around, Makanizi is around, and Kasaija is around, we could sit. When this money is released to Bank of Uganda or to the Ministry of Finance, then we could meet and see how to juggle way into there.
But I can notify you that His Excellency has been very keen on this. Because of the same challenge you've had, I think you must have heard about it. That 1.5 trillion Uganda shillings meant for rural electrification projects, which His Excellency is looking on as a fulfillment of the pledges of 2011 and 2016. So is microscopically looking and observing every activity. So now the threat in this is that we may get onto that money, yet His Excellency has provided a lot of intelligence to look into any ways of how money can be squashed from the national coffers or diverted from the intended projects to other projects. So that is where we are on that particular project. Now, let me ask, don't you think we would need to transfer some of the money into Umeme? No, that one failed completely. No, that one failed completely.
Actually, we had tried a lot of such efforts to have the money transferred there, but it entirely flopped. It flopped very badly to the extent that even His Excellency was involved to make sure that the money does not go there. We have even 2 companies that were dissolved by His Excellency, telling them that they can find the solace elsewhere in other fields and they leave Electricity alone.
No, some of them were transferred into sand mining, others were transferred to Mubende for some gold mining and Mitiana there. Others were taken to Bunyoro to join the exploring companies there, just to avoid any contracts for them in Rare. That is where fight went. So for Mehmet, it's just very impossible. But I believe we can do something about it. It is just a matter of time. Let the money come. If we can sit again with the ministers in finance, I think we can do something about it. Probably, but I have to always tell you that His Excellency is going to be looking at it. And he has authored a letter crowning Rutuama Charles as the executive director. But some people are just reluctant to deliver that. So, that is project number 1 I wanted us to talk about. Now project number 2 has been that of education. Now my colleague from Buziga, I believe when I called it that way, you get to know. I have several friends from Buziga. Now, which one in particular? No, of course you know. This is the name. You see, I normally don't want to mention names because of the problems we normally encounter with the digital espionage. No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. Now I get you. Now, you see, we have been working on education projects, particularly that gentleman I've told you from Buziga. We found out that we had to force His Excellency into opening schools. Much as he's very reluctant, he doesn't want to make a statement. So he's like, he told you the ministry organized with the schools, then the schools can organize with the parents. But His Excellency has totally remained very skeptical. But over 470 billion had been released in this preparation. Then some other money was released to the circles. Now this same gentleman knows where the 11-point-something billion went. And just these people who are now behind the bus got something very small. But His Excellency has pledged to look deeper into that, and they received bits of information of the actual people who handled the money. And indeed, they are still the same members from the top family, if I may term it. So the money was held in there, and it never went to the circles. Now the organizers of the circle simply, they received their commission, and that is all that is happening. Now when we put that aside, the other budgets have been those which were meant to help organize the schools. Much of it was taken because some had been accounted for as learning materials while the students are home during the lockdown. They were not deliverables. The other thing was to organize a simple curriculum that would assist to aid the learning of the children while at home. That never happened. Another thing was how to meet school heads and to pave the way forward on how to live with COVID-19. Apart from a few meetings from different sectors, not much ever happened. So that is another block and another challenge. So all this money was never accounted for. Instead, we just asked for money to provide the funds, and that is around 97 billion to help aid the schools. But the schools have not been listed down because we have thousands and thousands of schools. Now, which schools particularly is the 96 billion going to facilitate? Now, that is another saga on course. I'm calling it a saga. It would be good money. But these days, His Excellency is extremely awake. And when I listened to what previously Tamale Mirundi was saying, and he directly links with the president, that simply cautioned me that he's aware of these projects going on. Now, putting the 90 billion aside, there is going to be need for posters to be pinned along the schools to caution students on how to behave. There are posters that are supposed to be pinned at the entrances, in the dormitories, inside the classrooms, at the canteens, in the bathrooms, in the toilets. All of those have to be supplied by government to all of the schools. That is money, printing them and all that. That is money. Still under the same hands. Then finally, we talk about the sanitizers, the face masks, and the testing kits as well as reagents. Still the same club of suppliers is presently available, and they prefer to force all children to undergo such tests. And is having to spend 240,000 Uganda shillings. That would amount to even 1 trillion Uganda shillings if all students should be tested. Now that it is a shocking thing, we realize that some members, some sections are being hired to say that that won't happen. Actually, even Dr. Ruth was asked to make such a statement, but later nearing the opening of the schools, they will claim it is a very necessary thing and the parents should pay for it. So at the end of the day, my fear as a psychologist is that at the end of the day, this kind of stress is going to be transferred into a political crisis. If we are not careful, looking at the rising political temperature, we are likely to end to that side. So all those are billions within the education ministry, and they are causing a lot of question. And I don't know how carefully we can get and how you can advise when you go and talk to him on what to do. But it is more likely nothing may happen. The professor, I talked to him. I have to tell you that I talked to him, and he was telling me that the truth be told, the schools cannot kick off. If even in Europe, where they have all the SOPs with advanced implementation capacity, they kept on closing the schools and reopening them. And on top of that, even the government was giving them incentives, which money the government of Uganda does not have. So that simply meant that he told me that actually they're opening the school just for business. But after a short walk, the schools might be forced to stop, to be closed again, and then that year could definitely be declared. But in between, the teachers would have been rescued somehow. Some schools which are choking on loans will be assisted when people pay some school fees. Even the banks that have been running these school accounts and have been profiting a lot from them, because each transaction they would get like 2,500. They would also get back to business, and then the suppliers, we as the suppliers of the reagents, the testing kits and all of that, we would have made some money. So he was telling me that let us open the schools, but we know they are going to be closed very soon. And in between, we have to see how to manage our profits. So that was his perspective, which I personally supported. I personally supported it because there are several parents who are itching on taking back the students in school. Even the religious fraternity is also doing the same. They say if the schools can open, then we can also go. We can also be we can also agitate and we get opened. So that is what they are looking at. But anyhow, it is a very interesting thing. For me personally, as a capitalist, it is okay. It is just very fine. Those that are willing to rush into taking back the children back to school, it is upon them. They're willing to pay. They have the money. So let that happen. Those who don't have, they will retain theirs.